what giants and fallen angels really look like. They were not myths. They were not metaphors. And they were not gentle. Before kingdoms rose, before prophets spoke, before David ever lifted a stone, something ancient walked the earth. Giants. And beings that never should have crossed heaven's boundary. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the Bible Project for more cinematic Bible stories. The mystery begins. The Bible gives us a sentence so brief, yet so explosive, that theologians have wrestled with it for centuries. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward. That single line opens a door into one of Scripture's most haunting mysteries. Who were these giants? Where did they come from? And what did fallen angels really look like when they walked among men? Tonight, we step beyond surface reading. Tonight, we descend into the shadows of Genesis. And what we uncover will change how you see ancient history, spiritual warfare, and even the world today. Heaven before the fall. Before corruption touched creation, heaven was alive with light, not soft light, living light. Beings moved like fire through vast realms of glory. Their forms were radiant, powerful, precise. Angels were not fragile creatures with feathery wings and porcelain faces. They were designed as warriors, messengers, and guardians of divine order. Some appeared like blazing men wrapped in lightning. Others carried wings that filled entire rooms. Some had faces like burning bronze and voices that sounded like rushing waters. These beings did not flutter. They stood. They commanded atmospheres. They caused humans to collapse in fear. Every angel in Scripture arrives with the same first words. Do not be afraid. Not because humans were calm, but because terror was always the natural response. Yet among these heavenly hosts, rebellion was already growing. The descent. There came a moment when certain angels abandoned their assigned domain. They did not merely rebel in thought. They crossed realms. They descended. Genesis describes it quietly. The sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves. But ancient Jewish writings expand the horror. These watchers, heavenly beings assigned to observe humanity, became corrupted by desire. They took human form, not symbolic form, physical form. They taught forbidden knowledge. They revealed secrets of warfare, sorcery, cosmetics, metallurgy, and manipulation. And then they produced offspring. This was not romance. This was invasion. What fallen angels really look like? Fallen angels did not look like horned demons. They looked beautiful. Too beautiful. They carried unnatural symmetry. Eyes that seemed deeper than oceans. Voices that vibrated through bone. Their presence altered environments. They moved with authority that bent human will. They did not arrive breathing smoke. They arrived breathing charisma. Scripture repeatedly warns that darkness disguises itself as light. These beings appeared noble, regal, convincing, but behind their brilliance lived rebellion. Their beauty was weaponized. Their intelligence was predatory. Their power was strategic. They did not conquer humanity by force first. They seduced it, the birth of giants. From this forbidden union came something the earth had never known. The Nephilim, not merely tall humans, hybrids. Their bodies grew massive, their appetites uncontrollable. Ancient texts describe them consuming livestock, crops, and eventually people. Their bones were dense, their strength unnatural, their minds violent. These were not gentle giants. They were engineered predators. Scripture calls them mighty men of renown. But renown does not mean righteous. It means famous, feared, whispered about in every village. They built cities. They dominated regions. They ruled through terror. Humanity was being overwritten. The world before the flood. The earth grew dark, not metaphorically, spiritually. Violence filled every thought. Corruption saturated culture. The genetic line of humanity itself was being contaminated. God looked upon creation and saw that every imagination of man's heart was only evil continually. The problem was no longer moral. It was existential. Humanity was being hybridized. If this continued, the promise of redemption would die before it was born. So heaven intervened. Judgment from the deep. Rain began to fall. Not gentle rain, violent rain. The fountains of the deep erupted. The sky opened. The oceans rose. Mountains disappeared. Civilizations drowned. Giants fell beneath waves they could not outrun. Fallen angels were imprisoned in spiritual chains. Only Noah and his family remained preserved because his lineage was pure. The flood was not merely punishment. It was surgical restoration. God was resetting creation. And also, afterward, but then Scripture delivers another chilling phrase. There were giants in those days, and also afterward, meaning the story did not end with the flood. Somehow, the corruption resurfaced. Generations later, Israel stood trembling before towering figures in Canaan, men whose beds were made of iron, warriors whose armor weighed more than entire soldiers. Among them was Goliath, over 9 feet tall, clad in bronze, carrying weapons like siege tools. His voice echoed across valleys, and every trained fighter froze, except one shepherd, David and the giant. David did not see a monster. He saw an uncircumcised defiance of heaven. While others measured height, David measured covenant. The stone flew. The giant fell. But understand this. David was not just defeating a man. He was confronting an ancient bloodline, a remnant of forbidden history. And God erased it with one faithful strike. Why this matters today. Giants no longer roam the land, but fallen influence still moves through culture. The same spirits that corrupted humanity then now operate through deception, pride, lust, power, and control. They no longer need physical bodies. They use systems, media, ideologies, fear. Their goal remains unchanged. Distort God's image in humanity, separate creation from its creator, rewrite identity. But there is something they still cannot overcome. Authority. Not human strength, spiritual authority. The same authority that stopped giants. The same authority that silenced storms. The same authority that raised Christ from the dead. You are not living in random times. You are standing in a continuation of an ancient conflict. Light versus darkness, truth versus corruption, heaven versus rebellion. And the same God who shut the heavens, flooded the earth, toppled giants, and crushed kingdoms, is still watching, still ruling, still calling humanity back to himself. The giants are gone. The fallen angels are restrained, but the battle for hearts continues. And now you know why. If this story opened your eyes, subscribe to the Bible Project for more cinematic Bible stories and share this with someone who needs this truth today.